Hi everyone, my name is Sean. Uh, I am reaching out to you guys, particularly Gen Z, to talk about something that I think is very important and I think may be a new message that no one has given quite yet on these terms. Uh, just to give some background, I am a millennial, as I would be called. I'm a doctor, a brain doctor, uh, and my work revolves around understanding the brain and but my recent research and kind of looking around has led me to understand more about AI, and I've been reading pretty much literature as I can, watching as many YouTube videos as possible, and going through as many iterations of ChatGPT questions possible to be able to kind of figure out what's going on with AI and do some guesswork to make some projections outside of what we've just seen by the world's foremost experts. Right? They've all given their projections with their years, etc., etc. But my job, is to try to give you a little bit more of a layman's look at things, and hopefully give you a little bit of uh, encouraging words that can help you navigate this landscape. Now, this doesn't just apply to Gen Z, but it is particularly tailored to you guys. But this in general, I think, can help anyone as the job market, the job market in general is shifting rapidly. So, Gen Z, what I've noticed is that you guys are struggling. You're having a hard time, rightfully so. You guys are going to college, uh, graduating with tens of thousands of dollars in debt in STEM careers, the kind of careers that used to be pretty much guaranteed jobs, and you're struggling. You're struggling to find jobs. You're applying for months, a year, sometimes years, and not finding anything. And this is despite having a good college degree and a GPA, and internships, etc. So, that's tough. That is not the landscape I grew up in. I've spoken to some people and I've heard people telling me that they've put in hundreds, dozens, if not hundreds of applications and are still struggling. And these are very qualified people. These are Harvard graduates and Cambridge graduates, and PhDs. These are not kind of like you just walk out, these people are struggling too. Everyone is struggling. Uh, so rightfully so. You guys are having a hard time, rightfully so. So, you know, now the question is, with all of that taken into context, I may have to adjust the camera here. Bear with me here. I'm not the best with technology. So, putting everything in context, you guys have every right to be frustrated. If I when I graduated from college, was struggling to find a job and was in debt with no hopeful way to pay it, I would be pretty irritated too. I think anyone would. And I've noticed, in my career as a neurologist, I've looked at some of the people in more junior roles, and what I've noticed is they really are struggling. They look like they're under enormous levels of pressure, more than even me. And I'm a physician dealing with hundreds of patients, and all that liability and difficulty and the pressures of being a doctor, always having to be perfect, always no real, as doctors, we really have no margin for error. We always have to be perfect. Um, so that's the world I live in. But the thing is, even with that, I look and I see a lot of my junior colleagues are struggling. They're stressed, they're worried. Some of my medical students, some of the medical assistants and the nurses, some of the people in IT and other, these people are struggling, the younger ones. And at first I was like, why are they so struggling? When I was about their age in my 20s, I was in college, then med school, and I was doing 80-hour weeks. I felt okay. And I think the reason why is because there's a sense of, doom. There's a sense of, I'm working so hard and there's nowhere to go. I'm kind of either stuck in this job or dealing with multiple gig positions, and there's no room for getting to where I wanted to be, or what was sold to me and told to me would happen with college. with graduating college. I was sold this idea in high school, go to high school, get great grades, do all these extracurriculars, go to college, and then graduate from college, and then have a great job, buy a home, etc., etc. And these opportunities are just not available now, and that's stressful. The crazy thing is, that's just the first part. That's just applying and starting position. That's not maintaining the position or moving up. That's just the very beginning, from the hiring process to day one. You know, and another added layer of stress is that there's AI now. Not only are you competing with all your peers, especially on virtual platforms, meaning work from home platforms, you're not only competing with your local peers, you're also competing with peers all around the world. Now you're dealing with AI as well. So you have an immense amount of competition. So the question is, with all these challenges, because I don't like to just sit there and do doom and gloom, right? We've got enough of those AI videos. They're a dime a dozen right now. Oh, we're going to 10 years, AI is going to take everything over. You might as well just give up now and start living on the street, bum over, don't. That's not my message, because, you know, you know, you see that picture back there, the Jaws picture, right? Right now, everybody thinks, we up there are the lady and AI is the shark, and the job market is the shark, and they're just going to eat us up. But no, I reversed the picture. We are the shark, and AI is the lady. Now I know that's a really weird analogy, but it's really the only thing I have in my background to talk about. So we just got to make do with it. So it's a great movie. You guys should watch Jaws. So good. I've watched it so many times. Excellent film. The thing is, so what do we do? How do we get past the gloom and doom? How do we get past the woe is the world, AI is going to destroy us? I feel like it's just too much. Every time I turn on a video now, it's talk, especially on YouTube, it's always like people saying like, well, AI is going to destroy everything. Everyone's saying, well, we're going to be replaced, etc., etc., in the next 2 years or 3 years because of artificial general intelligence and then artificial super intelligence. Now, just in case those are terms that you're unfamiliar with, artificial and general intelligence is the breakout system where essentially AI can do what every human could do on the earth collectively, and super intelligence is when AI can start programming itself and exceeding that. Now, I think a lot of people think we're at AGI now. I do not think we are at AGI. Just spending 20 minutes through the most advanced version of ChatGPT and other platforms, we are not at AGI. And we certainly aren't anywhere near ASI. Despite what these, clickbait videos will tell you. Now, that doesn't mean we're not going to get there, though. We are going to get there. It's just a matter of how long. I just think the window for prediction is a lot shorter than it's actually going to be. Now, jumping back to what do we do? How do we deal with all these people? How do we deal with all this competition? How do we compete in a market that requires you to have not only a graduate degree, a master's or a PhD, and then on top of that, internships and experience before you've even started working? How do you have experience before you've started working? It's impossible. You just can't. It's a catch-22, right? You can't have experience before you started working. It's like, well, I need experience to get the job, but I need the job to get experience. It's like, this is ridiculous. Hold on, I need to turn on my background screen. It's a nice one. It's got bamboo. It's got bamboo in it. All right. Yeah. So and the thing is, and the answer there is, I don't entirely know the answers, but I do have some key points that I think will help guide us there, and guide you there as Gen Z. The first is, with your college degrees, sure, it may not be amounting to nothing now, but that doesn't mean it won't amount to something 1, 2, or 3 years down the line. 2, your college degree and your education is the only thing, okay, It's the most valuable thing you could have attained. Um, my dad used to tell me, you can amass a ton of wealth and a thief can take it. It can be stolen. You can uh, have the most exciting life, but one illness can take that all away. But with an education, doesn't matter if you get sick, robbed, maimed, nothing can take that away. That is yours and yours only, and no one can take that away from you ever. Once you attain that, that is yours to keep, and it is something no one can take from you. That is the value of an education, and that's an intangible value that I think a lot of you are not seeing right now because of the way the job market is functioning. But I do think with time, those degrees are going to come into play. The next idea is how do you leverage? Because I think the idea is between Gen Z and millennials and boomers and Gen X, between each generation, there's a very different idea of what is appropriate work culture, expectations top down and bottom up. And the question is, the thing is, this is very tough. I've struggled with this too. But if you're going to work for a corporation, this comes from the best place I can say. If you're going to work for a corporation, it's rigid. You just got to do what they say. You don't really have a choice, because if you don't do what they say, they'll just terminate you. And they'll hire someone else, especially in this job market. So we are all stuck kind of dealing with that. I know flexibility is great. I used to have flexibility. Unfortunately, that was all. I no longer have that as a work option. But this is corporate life. We, in a corporation, in a job that, works like that, you got to do what your boss asks you. You got to do what your leader asks you. Otherwise, you risk termination. That's one. There is no circumventing that I know of. If you know a way to circumvent that, that is great. Send a message. Let me know, because I would love to know. The next thing is leveraging your intelligence, because you guys are kind of tech native versus me. I grew up without computers. I grew up, with analog calculators and radios and VHS. I didn't have that kind of stuff growing up. But you guys grew up with this stuff from day one, so you're much more adaptable and understanding. I see, how you guys navigate this. I watch how you guys do your phones, and it's on a whole nother level, okay? And it's better than AI, okay? I watched how ChatGPT sometimes navigates things, and it's like, it's bad. But you guys, when you're scrolling through that phone, I see like how you click on things, and it's amazing. I think it's better than AI. So you can leverage that, and you could use AI to augment that. So step one is, learning how to work within the rigid constraints of corporate life. Two is utilizing your adaptability and intelligence to augment AI and to stay relevant and competitive in the market. Because things, not to get doomy and gloomy, but things are going to get worse. AI is going to get better. It's going to take time. It's not going to be in 2 or 3 years, but in our lifetime, during our working span, things will get worse. AI will become more intelligent. We will achieve AGI realistically, meaning at that point, AI can do everything everyone else can do on this planet collectively. Hard to compete with something like that unless you know how to appropriately use it. So that would be my next recommendation. Augmentation, AI augmentation, and utilizing that, almost like we use our phones as a form of bioprosthesis and augmentation. Well, AI will become the next tool available for us for augmentation. The other thing that would be really important is, understanding that your conditions are temporary. They will not last forever. But it could take a long time, years. Years. And this is before the whole AI thing. My sister, who's a nurse many years ago, she got out of nursing school. She had no experience, and all the experienced nurses were in the jobs. And every time she would go to apply a job, they'd say, well, we need someone with a minimum of 2 to 3 years of experience. And my sister would say, I just graduated from nursing school. How do you expect me to have that? So we worked on it, and it took her a good 3 years to find a job, unfortunately. But eventually, she kept working at it. I encouraged her, and she found a job, and she's getting the experience now, and she's excelling because she's a very intelligent person. But that's the thing. It's not just you guys. These are, for the past 15 or 20 years or so, things are becoming more saturated in every field. So it's a matter of, learning to roll with the punches. Now, that's really hard to hear from me. You're like, well, you want me to roll with the punches, but I'm just going home eating ramen every day and worrying about paying my rent. And I get that. So I don't have an antidote for that. I don't know how to come up with funds that aren't there. But what I do know is when you have a community around you, friends or support, it can help you get through these challenging times, meaning family. If you have any immediate or extended family around you who you could spend extra time with, now is the time. Talking to them, sharing your experiences, opening up, these things will help a lot. 2, if that isn't an option, then you go to your friends. If you have any friends in the area, extended friends, even acquaintances, you start building relationships with them and start sharing these thoughts with them and developing a network, a support network. 3, if you have access to neither of these things, it's fine. It's not a problem. Then you find your support online, whether that's a Discord group or some sort of forum chat, some sort of online therapy. There's 7 Cups, which offers free therapy, and it's like volunteer operated. There are so many layers of things you can use. So if you can't find your community here, then find it online. The only stipulation is you can't get your community from an AI. You can't get your community from YouTube videos. You cannot get your community from whatever content online, as enjoyable as it is, as enjoyable as the streaming service is. That's not going to work. That's not a community. It has to be people. Now, the real people. Now, whether those people are your family, friends, community, or a therapist, or a psychiatrist if you need, or an online community, as long as those are real people on the other side, it all works out. But it's got to be people. You cannot escape. You can't get through this alone. I understand with Gen Z, there's a lot of isolation. You guys are struggling with a lot of loneliness. And, that's not easy to do. So, especially in the current job market. So now is the time to start reaching out. Now is the time to find your support. These bonds, these friends, these communities, online or in person, digital or in the world, are going to carry you through. They're going to get you through these hard times. So to reiterate, you gotta keep the hope up. Know that even if your education isn't panning out now, your education has given you an intangible asset that will benefit you the rest of your life, regardless of the job market. It strengthened your brain. It's given you resilience. It taught you how to learn. It taught you to meet people and have enjoying life. It taught you to grow. And those are things that no one can take away, not even AI. The other thing is next, it's leveraging these things, working within corporate structures and using AI and your adaptability, because the thing is things are quickly changing, and life is hard. Too much change too fast can be really hard. But the thing is, you guys have the antidote. You guys have a high level of adaptability. So in a very fast changing environment, the antidote is high adaptability. So yes, you have the problem, but you also have the solution and the process to deal with it. Those things were granted to you as you are growing up in a very quickly evolving world. It's almost been programmed into you, no pun intended. So, you know, I'll be wrapping up now. But again, I wanted to mention, you know, I have a lot of faith in you, Gen Z. I see how hard you guys work. I see how you're dealing. I see how when at the same time I was, you know, playing, a video game or hanging out with my friends, you guys are juggling 2 or 3 different side gigs. I see that. Those are skill sets and endurance and abilities that not a lot of people had, even in my generation, right? So, you know, you guys have skills. You have adaptability, you have grit, you work hard. That's a recipe for success. But in our current landscape, you're going to need to augment that with certain expectations and AI and using your noggin to outsmart AI. And you know, so I do believe in you guys. I do see that shine, and so I wish you well, and be well. And if anything, you know, I hope whoever sees this video, even if it's 1 or 2 or 3 people, I hope that this has a positive, transformative, or at least some sort of thought-provoking, food for thought kind of a effect on you. If it did it even for 1 or 2 people, then this video was not made in vain. All right, all. Peace out. Be well. See you next time.